Hey, it's Magda from Crypto Masters. I hope you've had a great day so far. Welcome to the latest news that is sending ripples through the entire crypto sphere. First up, investors and not criminals dominate Bitcoin transactions. Well, that's a change. The US DEA says that there has been a massive turnaround in the criminal use of cryptocurrencies over the past 5 years. An agent of the US Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, says Bitcoin's role in crimes has dropped to just 10% of transactions, whilst transactions themselves have grown tremendously, reports Bloomberg on August the 7th. In an interview, DEA Special Agent Lilita Infante, who is actually a member of the 10-person cyber investigative task force, said that the ratio of legitimate to illegitimate Bitcoin transactions had flipped over the last 5 years. This just shows how hard governance entities like the DEA, FBI, CIA, and the police in general have been working on understanding the cyber sphere and working to regulate it. The times of the Silk Road are long behind us, and new transaction tracking technologies and mechanisms are in place and visibly, successfully turning any criminal gray areas into innocent white ones. No more Wild West. The central argument used by Bitcoin and crypto critics in general has been that it is a criminal heaven, giving an alternative cash processing opportunity, perfect for money laundering, terrorism, drugs, pornography. Though regulators have set about changing this stereotyped use of crypto money for illegal activity. So as Bitcoin's popularity visibly has grown, it is now legitimate trading which forms the overwhelming majority of activity, which Infante actually comments that the majority of transactions are used for price speculation. She also mentions that although privacy-focused altcoins are less liquid and more anonymous than Bitcoin, the DEA still has ways of tracking currencies such as Monero and Zcash. And Infante concludes that the blockchain actually gives us a lot of tools to be able to identify people. She actually wants people to keep using them. So that's quite ironic. Even Anderson Horowitz said that Bitcoin is law enforcement's best friend due to the ability to track illicit transactions on the blockchain. This is at a US House public meeting on digital assets late July. And that's the thing. A lot of people think that because some coin has come out saying that they are private or that you can't, kind of track their transactions, this is actually all just marketing hype. The FBI or DEA can tear apart your transactions, put them back together, and understand, the other side, where it came from. Everything can be traced. We live in a world where everything can be traced and tracked back to your IP address. They know exactly where these things are going. And, if you are doing illegal things with certain cryptocurrencies and you think you were not being tracked or traced, you're probably mistaken. There's a reason why governments are now okay and allowing infrastructures to be built around these things. It's not that they suddenly want you to have control over your money because you were kind of protesting for cryptocurrency introduction. It's basically just they can track and trace any transaction. But I guess the good news is that this means that cryptocurrencies are becoming less associated with crime and more with honest investment, which will surely bring even more people into the market. Right, next up, Swiss bank Merki Baumann to become second in country to accept cryptocurrency assets. So, despite rising competition from other countries who are looking to capitalize on the cryptocurrency boom, Switzerland's crypto valley looks like it's still leading the way. That's because a second Swiss bank, the Zurich private bank Merki Baumann, has agreed to form a banking partnership with cryptocurrency firms, solving actually quite a big problem point for companies that operate in the crypto sphere. The news was first reported by financial publication International Investment. Now, previously, the first bank to have introduced these banking options was the fellow Zurich institution Falcon Private Bank. And this is one of the highest profile Swiss banks comfortable with offering services to blockchain companies. Last year, Falcon even began offering cryptocurrency asset management services through a partnership with, or like a cooperation agreement with Bitcoin Swiss AG. Unlike Falcon though, Merki Baumann does not currently plan to offer cryptocurrency asset management or custody services. However, the bank recently published a report on cryptocurrencies in which it said it is keeping an eye on this asset class. And here I quote, Merki Baumann is keeping an eye on the development of these investing instruments and the corresponding progress on the regulatory side without looking to gain exposure to this young asset class at the present time. This is true not just of direct investments in cryptocurrencies, but also investments in the necessary technology for the trading and custody of these instruments. So Merki Baumann is generally prepared to accept funds generated through cryptocurrencies, be it through speculative investments or speculative transactions, or in the form of payment received for services provided, or for mining profits. And Swiss regulators, who are on the whole really supportive towards blockchain and cryptocurrency companies, have lately expressed some concern about the exodus of cryptocurrency firms from Crypto Valley. Now, this all relates to a series of departures that accompanied the closure of two small banks that had been open to servicing crypto businesses whose assets were associated with cryptocurrency related activities. Now, following the closure of these banks, a lot of industry businesses had met with difficulties finding banking partners, and this kind of threw light on an issue that has been a big problem for many different crypto companies in different regions. So many Crypto Valley expats, if you will, had moved to Malta's blockchain island, while others had moved to favorable regulatory climates in jurisdictions such as Liechtenstein or the British Virgin Islands. So Merki Baumann's decision to begin working with crypto industry firms could help businesses leaving Switzerland, enabling the country to become or to remain an important hub for cryptocurrency and blockchain development. And it's all quite interesting, really, that yet another bank is introducing services for the crypto sphere, for the crypto sector, especially when you look at what has been happening on the market recently. Like, prices haven't been this low for a while. Yet another ETF decision has been pushed back in time, and it really gets you thinking what is in the pipeline. And last but not least, as expected, SEC delays the VanEck Solidex Bitcoin ETF decision until September. So the US Securities and Exchange Commission has postponed its decision on the listing and trading of a Bitcoin exchange traded fund until September 30th, according to an official document released by the SEC August 7th. So this comes as no surprise, considering the previous ETF rejections in the previous months. Now, ETFs are seen by some as a potential step forward for the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies as a regulated and passive investment instrument. The fund under question is powered by an investment firm, VanEck, and financial services company Solidex, and is expected to list on the Chicago Board of Exchange. the BZX equities exchange. The SEC now has almost 2 more months to consider a proposed rule change by CBOE Global Markets that would allow the fund to list. So today's notice states that the SEC has received more than 1,300 comments on the proposed rule change. Now, this is some public interest happening here. According to the document, within 45 days of a filing of a proposed rule change, or within 90 days, should the Commission decide necessary, the Commission will approve, disapprove, or extend the period of consideration. So, it's not like they disapproved the actual filing. They're just asking for some more time to think. It is, I guess, pretty difficult decision considering the difficulties that all the kind of committees are having with classification, etc. So last month, the SEC delayed its decision on investment firm Direxion's application for a Bitcoin ETF also until September the 21st. The regulator also rejected an appeal by BAT's BZX exchange to list and trade shares of the Winklevoss Bitcoin Trust, which was originally filed in 2016. So crypto markets have since spiraled out of control, with the total crypto market capitalization drastically dropping from 254 billion to current levels of 232 billion, which is a massive drop, but it's not something that we've not seen before. In the last 24 hours, Bitcoin has declined by 6.15% and is currently trading at 6,500. But if you think about it, the reaction in the crypto markets due to this postponement should not have really happened, for it had been predicted by basically all enthusiasts and financial experts. It really did not come as a surprise to anyone. Anthony Pampliano, the partner and co-founder at Morgan Creek Digital Assets, had actually expressed his doubts back in July, where he said that there's a lot of speculation on the new ETF decision, but I don't think it's going to get approved. And a lot of people are going to get disappointed, because he was pointing to all the excitement that was kind of artificially pushing Bitcoin prices up. Now, is it possible that the postponement of this decision is a good thing? Well, actually, firstly, it does mean that the SEC is finally listening to the public as to why the Bitcoin ETF should be approved. Secondly, with the delay, this probably means that the SEC is also considering the recent backed news announcement by the Intercontinental Exchange that will provide a regulated exchange and a custody service from a reputable trading firm. So this was the reason they kind of rejected the BATS ETF by the Winklevoss. There was no firm providing the two services at the same time. And thirdly, we remember that there was one ETF commissioner, Hester Pierce, who didn't agree with the decision of SEC. So it was her public dissent. And this has kind of shed a lot of much needed light that not all commissioners are against cryptocurrencies. So this in turn means that they have to consider her perspective, as obviously highlighted in her dissent, with the next Bitcoin ETF that they review. So all in all, it looks like the crypto markets kind of childishly overreacted to the delay, and it can be considered a good thing that perhaps SEC is listening to public opinion and it didn't just kind of say, no, we're not going to implement these financial instruments at all. So perhaps some foul news turned sweet. Thanks a lot for listening, and I hope you join me next time. Have a great day.